Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, Rangers. It's me, Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. It's 2024. Let's do this. Here's the credits, of course. Mike Ruekberg sang that song at the beginning, and he wrote that song, and he sang it with Sarah Cohen, his wife, and he will sing the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Also, Patrick Brady, still putting this together. Video, audio, all of it. He's amazing. So, and Vilmos doing JackieCationStore.com. Squarespace is doing the regular Jackie Cation page, and I'm thinking of moving the Dork Forest and dorkforest.com away from WordPress because it's driving me nuts. But those are the credits. But if you go to JackieCation.com, you can get Dork Forest merch. You can get my stand-up merch. You can get my stand-up CDs and DVDs, which you'd have to have devices for those. You can also see videos and find out any number of things. I have another podcast called The Jackie and Laurie Show, but the Dork Forest is the flagship. 18th year. We're doing it, you guys. You can go to my Bandcamp or my YouTube for extra content. Please donate, is what I'm saying. It's 2024, and I think we've been in this long enough. Why don't you guys, everybody send me $100? That's what I'd like you to do. You can PayPal me. There's links all over the pages. You can Venmo me at Jackie Cation. You can find me at a stand-up show and hand me a sweaty wad of 20s. Do something. But I love doing the show. I would love to make some money, is what I'd like to do. In other news, I'm sure there's more things that I should talk about, but I can't think of them. But let's listen to who's going to dork out about something, because that's my favorite part. Thanks for listening, you guys. You're all great. Let's get into the show. Oh my gosh, it's me, Jackie Cation, and I'm in my living room. No, I'm not. I'm in my garage. Fake out. Okay, Rangers, Dork Forest listeners, you've chosen wisely. Today's guest is Jessica Sele, and Jessica Sele's dorkdom is awesome and hilarious, and we haven't had one like this, I remember, in a while, and we've never had this specific one. Jessica Sele, by the way, stand-up comic, at Jessica Sele, Sele spelled S-E-L-E, new album called Weird Vibes. Feel free to buy it. You can stream it, but she gets more money if you buy it. You have $10, maybe, right? Come on. And Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm coming to you from my kitchen.
Excellent. You have a pantry door, possibly an accordion door behind you?
It's actually the door to my living room, which I can't open, or you'd see that I have a sort of a disorganized office space behind me, which goes against what I'm going to be
to talk about.
What I'm going to be preaching.
Interesting. Let's get into it. It's organization, right? It's sort of,
yeah.
Yeah. So anti-clutter or just what? What do you think?
I'm pro facing the clutter.
Okay.
All
right.
And sorting to the best of your abilities. Not a perfectionist. It's just
can't be done. Can't be done.
Helping people relate to their belongings and just not be afraid and also not be ashamed. So maybe I should open this door and show you
what's happening.
The truth. No, I do home organizing as one of my many side gigs as a stand-up comedian.
Oh, weird. That's one of the gigs home organizing is it, and why? Of course it's a job. Here's the thing about Los Angeles. We'll create a job out of whole cloth, out of nothing.
And to be honest, people need it.
Sure.
And if you can help a loved one do it, especially your older loved ones, people need help going through their stuff.
Yeah. I throw things out. What I tend to do is I tend to stack things, and then I move it closer and closer to the back door. And my husband is trained? That feels rude. But he is now aware that essentially, if it's right by the back door, it's real close to being tossed out. So he either has to take it all the way out to the garage or back to the place where he would like to keep it. But I'll tell you where I don't want it being kept, in our small living room.
Right.
That's what I don't want it loosey-goosey on our tiny love seat or one of the two chairs we can sit in. Or his desk is he knows what's happening on it, I guess. Like he cleaned it the other day, and so it was still full, but it was 3 giant stacks. So they were squared off. Is that something?
At least if it's in a stack, that is something.
All right.
I have gotten this close to breaking up with my partner over his desk situation. It's
Oh, yeah.
Can I tell you the worst thing?
Yes, please.
And I know I said I'm no shame, but I guess when it comes to my loved ones, I'll shame them.
I guess you'll shut them down. Okay, let's hear it.
The worst thing is, we got these piles of papers, all these different things on the desk. And then he put a picture of me on top of a huge chaotic pile, like leaning.
Right.
And to me, that's a sign of like, no, this isn't a display situation. All these,
Is it a defense mechanism? What is he doing?
I think he's like, oh, let's put this picture up on this pile situation.
Right. He wants to see a picture of you, but you don't think he's going, she'll never mess with this pile if it has a picture of her on it. That's what I think might be happening.
You could be queen of all of this. Yeah.
Well, if he's doing it, it's shrewd, but it kind of backfired because clearly you guys had words. Is that what I'm? Is that what I'm seeing? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, because that's not how I see myself. You
Okay.
know.
You don't want to be on a stack of random bills or receipts that need to be filed. Do you keep old bills?
I think that unless you absolutely need to keep a piece of paper, just recycle it or shred it.
I've told this story so many times. Maria Bamford throws out her old notebooks.
This is interesting. Notebooks I've been debating about, like old journals. I've got some journals from college, and some
I
of them
say
are,
don't do it.
some of them are dark stuff, and I'm wondering,
Of course.
hard times, and this and my night of the dark souls, my drunken nights, and I almost feel like they meant so much to me, but part of me feels like there's a little too much darkness sitting in my closet.
Oh, interesting. You could sage that closet, restack them in some way, and start over. I don't know why. Andy hates it when I sage, by the way. He's like, what happened? And I was like, you don't like pine sol? You don't like sage? I don't know why we're together. But
I do a lavender diffuser.
Oh, I do a lavender oil in the tub. And so
That's nice.
I've had a sort of an on and off cold, sort of stuffed up situation. Like right now I have an ear infection, very sad, about to fly. But so I have lavender oil I put in the tub and I couldn't smell it. So I put another capful in, and Andy just came out of the bedroom going, "What's happening? Why so much lavender? Why?"
Do you know what I do?
What?
And this, I think my partner hates, and I think he's fair for it, which is I mop the floors with some vinegar sometimes, which smells pretty bad, but the smell goes away. But the reason I do this is because I struggle, with toenail fungus, and I have to sanitize everything because my toenails are very vulnerable people.
And you walk around barefoot.
I always walk around barefoot, which is maybe the problem.
What are you, in a gang in Venice? Come on. It's you ever see the kids in Venice with no shoes on?
Yeah.
It's it's a sign of toughness that they don't have shoes on, and you just want to go, put some shoes on. It's February. Okay.
Right.
So Andy, big fan of both slippers and a house coat. Who knew that he was raised in the 30s?
We just need him to get a little nightcap.
Oh, he's got a nightcap. I've given him. Well, we bought one over at the Universal. It looks like a nightcap, but it's actually a wizard cap. I bought it at the Harry Potter World.
Nice.
For his birthday one year, and it was on sale.
Nice.
It's not that I don't love him; it's just that we've been married some time now. He likes a sale item as much as I do. So you do home organizing for other people.
Yeah.
So you come in, you look around, and you go, well, it's all going to have to be boxed up. Or what do you do? Like, my house is 966 square feet.
Yeah,
We
same.
have 3 people, 3 animals, 2 dogs and a cat. My mother-in-law moved from a 3,600 square foot house
Wow.
into our house. We gave her a room, and
Yeah.
she, of course, got the garage. So we no longer have a garage. We have a public storage
Right.
unit. So what happens now?
That's a challenge. That reminds me of my great grandma when she moved into a assisted living situation because she had this really small room, but she was a painter and just her walls were completely covered and everything in that whole room was completely stuffed,
Shoulder
full
to
of
shoulder
stuff,
on the walls,
shoulder to
right?
shoulder. Um, which you accumulate more over life obviously, so when you get when you're an elderly person, it can start becoming a problem because that's when, first of all, things have so much sentimentality for your whole life. Second of all, you forget you buy shit, so you rebuy it all the time. um but
Yeah.
what happens with you? I guess it's just like, I go in usually and I say, what's stressing you out? And then sometimes people are like, oh, look at all this stuff. And I'm like, that's actually not so bad. This is normal house. But we just see
Okay.
Instagram all the time. So we think that everything has to
It
be
should be
like,
like open air kind of situation.
right, which I love, but it's not always possible.
Right. Not if you are 77 years old and have been buying cat statues for 100 years. It's just, here's what I told Andy, because Andy is also a collector. I don't know if you can see behind me.
I see.
This room is full of things.
Yeah.
And I love things as much as other people. That's a lie. I don't. I don't care about things. I'm
Hmm.
willing to take a picture and send you that photo and say, I thought of you. I didn't buy it for you because you don't need
Mm.
it. It's a plushie. So, but here's the scoop. I told Andy about his comic books because it's getting out of control. And there are comic books because I read them as well, but I wouldn't keep them. And he bags them and he files them and it's let's see, the filing system is right there behind me. So, what I said was, if you're willing to go through all of your comic books with 3 criteria, what do you think of this? As an organizer, here's the criteria. You're going to keep a comic book if you're going to reread it, you think ever. Keep a comic book if it's worth some money and you think that's cool. Third reason to keep it, a nebulous emotional reason that is defensible. He got rid of about 600 comics, 800 comics.
Dang.
He still has 10,000 comics.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun because then you're going through all the comics. And what I like,
Right.
and I think this is good for your comics, because I do imagine physical things to have their own life force in a way.
Okay.
They're not alive, but they're a part of our whole thing. They're a part of the world. They got their own energies and their own personalities, and
They are matter. We are matter.
right.
Maybe we both exist.
Are they not also made of stardust?
They are made of stardust, as we are.
As we are. So I think that it's, for me, it's like the thought of a bunch of comic books being stuffed away in a bag and never to be touched, never to be they're just like, somebody please look at me and touch me and hold me again.
Like Toy Story kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm sure a lot of this roots Toy Story resonates to me so much because I just was very connected to my toys. And I remember my mom went into labor with my brother, and it was like this really dramatic, like
Yeah, it was labor. It's going to be
no,
dramatic.
no, it was more dramatic in sense that it was early and it wasn't correct, and firefighters and ambulances came, and I was like,
Okay.
yeah, that kind of drama. But so I was like 4.5, and it was fun for me because the firefighters came in. They were like, "Hey, do you want to ride in the fire truck? You can bring one toy." And I was like, "This is huge." So
it is huge. That sounds amazing, quite honestly.
this is huge. And then I went into my room and I was like, all right, I have to pick one of you. This is a huge chance. And listen, everyone knows Kirsten's my favorite American Girl doll, right?
Okay.
And but I know I haven't played with Raggedy Ann in a while. And I feel like she needs this the most. So I hope all of you can understand.
I love the speech. That's so great. You're just like, you guys just know that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I have to pick one of you. I get it.
Raggedy Ann's had a hard year. Let's
She's raggedy, you guys. She needs this.
Kirsten, you have your outfits, you have your accessories.
Yes. Right, you probably have a carriage. Where is Kirsten from? What American ancestry is Kirsten?
She's Swedish, which is the closest to, I guess, my heritage, which is a lot of
your own ancestry?
right. Yeah, I'm a Norwegian, Icelandic, and a lot of other things as well. But that's where the Swedish. I think my grandma bought me the Kirsten, and she was
Because
pushing
it was the
that
closest to a Whitey Magoo.
for
This
sure.
is the most solid Whitey Magoo.
I don't know. There's other types of Whitey Magoos in the American Girl doll line. That
Are there?
Well,
Like, is there a German American one?
I'm not
Or a
sure.
Polish American one? Yeah.
I'm not sure what Samantha's ancestry is, but she was like the rich white girl that all the you know what I mean?
Waspy. Sure,
Yeah,
Protestant.
there's definitely waspier ones, and then there's like Felicity's like the American Revolution era doll, and then
Do you still have these dolls?
well, I don't have multiple. I just have Kirsten, but yeah,
You kept Kirsten?
Kirsten is at my mom's house. My mom insists on keeping Kirsten for when I have a daughter. And
Wow,
I don't know.
no pressure.
Hey, listen.
She's holding Kirsten hostage is what she's doing.
It's sad for Kirsten. Kirsten knows. Kirsten's looking at me like, you're 36 and I haven't been played with in 30 years. So somebody help me.
TikTok.
TikTok indeed. Yeah, my mom's like, you should freeze your eggs. And I'm like, I think you might want to give up on this dream, Mom. It's getting, we're on the.
Yes. Why don't you adopt, Mom?
Yeah.
And so, oh my God. One time Andy asked me if we should adopt. And I looked at him and I said, did you want to adopt? And he goes, no. But should we? And I'm like, not with that attitude. We shouldn't. We should definitely not adopt because we're supposed to, like we're recycling.
Well, there's so much controversy online about adoption right now, I feel like.
Oh, right. Well, I think it's because everyone wants a new baby and they also want a white baby. Unless you don't. And there are several people I know who adopted. So a friend of mine adopted an 8-year-old, and her mom was a mess. But they tried to, reintegrate with her mom, just sort of like,
right.
Your mom is in rehab. She's trying to get her act together. You should meet her again. I mean, we're your family, but she is your mom. And there's no reason to reject all that. And that kid is now 22, 23 years old and is just furious at her adopted family. It was like, you guys didn't do me any favors. And I'm like, no, I think they did.
No, that's a lot of adopted kids are online saying that right now. They're like, I hate my adopted family. And
right.
And I will tell you something about me is I play through every scenario in my head. So I like have worked through what I'm doing with my adopted child down in every scenario. Right. I've raised multiple children.
in your VR Stardew Valley world. Well played.
I don't even need one of those Apple face things because my brain is always having this whole other lives with all this. I have all this intense decision making going on.
Right. So did you get to bring any of your toys with you when you went away?
When I went to the hospital
or when you went to college, like, do you have the things that you want from your childhood? I have my stepmother, my parents are big thrower outers. So, to try to get something from my childhood, it's a challenge. Like my grandmother had 2 Persian rugs. There was some sort of drama about those 2. I knew I wasn't in the running. I'm the youngest of 6.
You're like, forget it.
Right. There's a set of dishes that I really like that my brother feels like you can have the other set. And I'm like, "No, all right, I'll take the other set." And so, I mean, I'm not going to, I don't get anything good, but I did get to bring my one stuffed animal that I have no idea who, I know that, I have no idea where I got this stuffed dog, but I have about one toy from when I was a kid. And that's the only toy I've got.
I'm sure that if I wanted to, I could take things from my childhood,
Okay.
but I don't really have anything that I need in my home, I don't think. My
And your
mom,
mom still lives in your childhood home? And
no, no, mm-mm.
so she moved all of your stuff?
Yeah. My mom wants to hold on. Okay.
She's a collector.
She's not bad, but the way that I feel about my mom is my mom liked being a mom to very young children.
Ah,
So I think she holds on to these toys as like, remember when
you were
I liked
5
you?
or right, when you were right. One of my brothers, I guess, not a sister-in-law, but the parent of one of she loves kids under the age of 5,
Yeah.
and so she has, like, 11 kids, but
Wow.
when they would turn 5, she would just give them to their dad.
It's like I have the nurturing instinct to a certain age, then it turns off.
Then I'm just like, and then when they're like 30 and they have jobs, she's like, "Oh, we should hang out." And she's not a monster. She's just, she's just a different person. And all of her kids, weirdly enough, she had excellent taste in men. Like all of the dads raised their kids really well.
That's
Like
interesting.
it's really amazing. Like they're all gainfully employed and artistic and smart and good people. And I'm like, this is amazing. I have a niece and nephew from that pile of children. I don't know what
Maybe
to call
in
that.
a way she's a good mom because, in
Right?
nature, you just kind of the moms are for feeding them and
Yeah, yeah.
uh
And once they're weaned, let them into
once
the
they're
woods.
weaned, then I've picked the perfect fathers.
Right. And that now you take them into the woods and show them how to hunt and skin their animals. And, or in this case, read Lord of the Rings
Right.
or, travel to Iceland. So, or Africa or wherever. And very fun.
Amazing. Yeah. So that I guess that's also why my mom wants me to have a baby so she can again do the baby thing.
Enjoy the baby years.
Reuse Kirsten.
Okay, so what do you recommend? Do you recommend we have a lot of these plastic bins? There's one. Um,
Oh, I see. Okay.
is that a fat plastic bin? Yeah. No, I think it's down here actually.
Okay.
Whatever. It's got a bunch of electronic. I've been doing the Dork Forest for 18 years. I have many versions of this audio setup. So whatever.
Sure. You're asking with that bin specifically?
No,
I would
I'm asking
Oh,
about the organization of other people of people's stuff, your own or others. Like, what do you do? Do you make closets? Do you stack? What's happening?
well, first thing you have to go through and figure out what you'd like to keep and what you need to keep because a lot of people they go and they buy I show up and they're like, okay, I bought all this storage shit because I guess that's the exciting part for them is buying more things, which is buying all these containers and things. But you don't really know how much space you need till you go through everything and you see what you actually need. And for the most part, in almost every situation, like the issue is too much stuff. It's too many
Yeah.
things. So you just start going through things. Clothes is a really good place to start. And, I start with whatever people's like, this is killing me, my electronics or whatever it is, like this room that has, and
Is
then,
the room or the space or the type of thing is overwhelming.
right.
Okay.
So just start going through the things slowly and it gets going pretty fast if you can let go of some things, then you
Is
can
there a criteria that you say to them?
it really
Do you,
depends
or do
on
you
the
just
person.
go, "Do you want this?"
It
You
really
don't want
depends
this.
on the purpose, the person because there's all kinds of different like issues. There's like, I just haven't had time to go through all these paper clips or not paper clips, but all this junk, and I don't really care about it. So then it's like, okay, let's figure out what you need, and um like what's actually useful to you. And
What is useful?
okay, if we're talking about office stuff, I would say most things aren't that useful anymore because we mostly do everything on the computers. To me, you get one stapler, you get one thing of tape, multiples. Oh, in case this one breaks or whatever. How if you're using a stapler all the time, I guess that makes sense. But
Or different size staplers if you have some specific use for different size staplers, I
right.
guess.
So it all depends on the person. But overall, I don't try to pressure anyone to get rid of anything. And
Mhm.
most everyone, no matter how attached or how many issues they have with getting rid of things, most everyone can find things that they're willing to let go of. And if someone holds up a stapler and is like, "I love this stapler," then I'm like, "Let the stapler be the beacon of things that we compare all things. Since you love this stapler so much, does it
Okay.
live? Does it live up to your love of this?"
Right.
Um,
So and you could compare it to other things that are officey, right? You're like,
right,
okay, so here's this stapler, and then here's these 5 pairs of scissors. Which pair of scissors matches this stapler,
right.
right?
In your heart,
In your heart, these other 4 pairs of scissors, can they go to someone else? Can they go to?
right.
And then what do? Do you take them to Goodwill? Do you go to?
I have
You?
all kinds of things I do. There's a craft thrifting place in Pasadena that's
Oh,
like a
that's neat.
reuse crafting. I take things to electronics recycling. I go to Homeboy Industries and Commerce and drop off electronics.
Wow.
I go to so my free service is that and I do this for people for free too because I'm a big under earner. Um and I like doing it. And that's how I
Yeah.
started doing it. Is I did it for free for people for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Because it's stuff. It's something you like to do. It's your dorkdom. You do. What do you like about it? Do you like going through other people's stuff, or do you just like the result, or is
I
there something else?
I think I like going through people's stuff and seeing their stuff. I think that I like how light people feel at the end and how hopeful they feel.
Yeah.
Like I think it's kind of a release that they didn't know it was possible to tackle. Because people have so much emotions with things too, like that. They're afraid of looking in this closet because someone they've passed away, their clothes are in there and stuff like that. Ththings like this,
Oh,
So
right.
it can be very cathartic, I think too. But
Hmm.
I think I also like it because I had a messy room always growing up. I'm kind of a messy drunk girl, and I think I just I enjoyed learning the system of how to take care of things and like find
Oh,
places. Like sometimes I'm on TikTok or whatever and I'll see a girl that's like, "Oh, I'm really depressed and look at how messy my room is getting already." And
yeah.
I look at the room and I'm like, yeah, there's clothes everywhere because your hamper's way too small. And
Oh,
like
okay.
things like
Yeah.
this. I see a lot of easy fixes that people beat up on themselves and they think, oh, I'm a worthless, gross person because I make such a mess and it's such a reflection of my depression and a reflection of who I am. And if you remove the shame, it feels kind of it feels kind of good to just look at your stuff in your life and go, okay, this is my stuff. Let's
Yeah. 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 If somebody else looks at it, it's just better, right? Sometimes that drone's eye view, and especially if it isn't judgmental, someone's
right,
just going, you have a lot of stuff. Let's see. And you don't want all of this stuff, or you want to be able to have more than just a path through your house to get from one place to another. Yeah, it's really, I mean, I like I wish that our house were emptier for sure. And but I like the idea. I just had my first ever stylist come, and she brought clothes
fun,
for an event, and it was super fun.
fun.
And she was amazing. She just showed up, and she didn't even ask me what size I was. She just looked at my Instagram, and all the clothes fit. And then we put together an outfit and it was ridiculous. And then I was like, well, now what happens? Do I have to keep all the clothes, the extra clothes? She was like, no, we can take them all back. You can keep the outfit you picked. And I said, okay, well, how much is it? She's like, well, you don't want the jacket because the jacket is couture and that's too much. And I said, well, I'm glad you didn't tell me it was couture when I was wearing it because I'm a slob. So, luckily I didn't spill anything on it. And, but it was, but the rest of the outfit, super cool. And then, yeah, I liked it. I asked her if she would come over and go through all of my clothes. But what I
Nice.
should do first is go through all of my clothes and sort of keep the walking around clothes that I want to keep. And then she can tell me that the clothes that don't fit me, that are dress clothes that I, for some reason, think I'm one day either going to fit into or something's going to happen. Um, we can have that discussion where she's like, well, you can keep it, but
That sounds
yeah.
great. I would love to have a stylist.
Right. Well, she
Go
wasn't
through my
that
stuff.
right. It wasn't for her to come over with clothes was like $250. And then I ended up buying almost $300 worth of clothes because there were boots, pants, and a fancy dress shirt.
That's not bad.
So, yeah, the boots themselves were probably $120 or
You
150
go out to
bucks.
breakfast these days, it's $300 for crying out loud.
You go out to breakfast, it's $54 for two people. That's a lot of money.
I know. I know.
And I'm going to New York for a week, and the hotel I'm staying at has breakfast, and I'm
Mm,
like, and I will be taking advantage of that breakfast because it will save me $25 a day.
nice. Yes,
So yeah,
absolutely. I was pretty good last time I went to New York. I didn't do too bad in the spending department. I didn't even take one Uber. I was Subway
oh,
the
there you
whole
go.
time.
That's admirable. I always I start with Lyft, and then about 3 days later, I'm like, hey, Rockefeller, um, why don't you buy a subway pass and remember how to do the subway?
Yeah.
And but I used all of my credit card points for the hotel. So it's so far it's pretty cheap. And then I'm going to pick up some sets to pay the extras.
Here's something I learned about staying in hotels about myself is I sleep so much better when there's less stimulus visually. And I think this is why I wouldn't say I'm a minimalist, but I do like not having to look around and have like a whole emotional experience every time I look around a room.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes I just I want to go to bed and not be,
Yeah.
be so I feel very I love like hotels and then how clean they are. And then I take that lesson home and I'm like, it feels good when the bed's made. It feels good when the sheets are clean,
Yep.
you know? And
Yeah.
I think bedrooms, I like a lot of neutrality.
Right. Right. You're not wrong. I don't know why my dog is barking so bad in the background, but I want you. Can you monologue about home organizing for just a hot second while I go look for that dog? How do
Sure.
you feel about that?
Yeah.
It's sure. I'm going to write down some time code and I'm going to say to Rangers, this is an opportunity for you to really meet Jessica Sele. Jessica Sele, it's at Jessica Sele. She has a new album out called Weird Vibes. And I'll be right back because Tyson's losing his shit.
Okay. Well, I hope Tyson is okay. And I think that, I feel insecure now that Jackie's gone. I'll say this. I feel insecure talking about home organizing because, I'm like here because I want you guys to listen to my stand up. And I want you to know that I am funny and I'm cool. And I have other facets of my life. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I'm not just a pure artist. But back to the hotel thing, I want us to say the most important thing If you do nothing else, is make your bed. Make your bed and make sure the shoes are lined up.
Okay.
Don't throw stuff. Just line it up a little. Stack your papers a little bit.
My grandmother used to always say that that it was unlucky to not have your shoes in together and against the wall. And we were always like, that's an old wives' tale. And then we kept our shoes together up against the wall because she would always kind of freak out about it. And she could have just said, I don't want to see it. But she said, no, it's unlucky. And it is, here's what could happen if your shoes aren't put nice. You could trip over them.
That's unlucky. Well,
Right.
It's interesting that you bring up that tool of making things kind of hold power in the home, because I have been watching a lot of feng shui kind of videos, which I don't know that much about. But
I love the idea. Yeah.
I do need to use some of it. In like the where I'm placing things and storing things, I do think a lot of it is helpful for me. But it is kind of like that. It's like, don't do this, it's unlucky. Don't put this here, it's gonna attract bad. Don't put two mirrors facing each other, because that's gonna create chaos. And to be honest, a lot of it does make sense to me. A lot of it, that there's an energy that flows through the house, and you don't want energy to get stuck. You don't want energy to be bad,
Whether it's, an old Chinese or Japanese, or because feng shui I think is Chinese. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But whether it's a bunch of old wives just saying you have to live here. Right? I mean, that's what feng shui has always felt for me, even though of course there's corners where it's all about money.
Mhm.
There's a corner that's all about love interest. And then they do a thing where, like in your bedroom, you're not supposed to have pictures of family members that aren't like your loved one.
Right.
It's just supposed to be either just art, loose, art like that. And they also encourage no TV. I don't have a TV in the bedroom because I don't want to lie in a bed like some hospice infirm person and watch television. I just don't. And in hotels, it's hard enough, right? Because I'll throw the TV on sometimes because I enjoy diners, drive-ins, and dashing in, or whatever the hell it's called. And so
I'm a shark tank in the hotel. I do the
Shark Tank.
Yeah.
That's that thing where you have to invent something and
people try
tell
to
you
get investors on their little inventions.
And you ever see anything good?
Not really. Here, and I think this is related, because I don't think there's anything else that we got to have.
You think we've covered it? You think it's done?
I think that for home items, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something I need and I don't know. But it's like, listen, you got a broom. They're coming up.
You got a mop. Well, I like a Swiffer, but it's very much a half-assed way of doing the floors, right?
It doesn't really work if you got debris. I mean, if you've already swept, it'll get some extra little micro dusties, maybe.
Right. Well, and it, as a kid, I mean, we were an unclean youth, and then my stepmother came into our lives when I was about 7 or 8 years old. Right? She married my father when I was 8, and she was a great loss to the Austrian army. We all had chores, and she would, and to scrub the kitchen floor, hands and knees, and then she would go and check all the corners and all the floorboards and make sure that it was clean. And she would walk on it in socks and make sure that it was clean. And my brothers, I'm the youngest, so my brothers and my sister all came up with workarounds. Like they would only do the corners. They would sweep, and then they would use the Pine Sol hardcore in each of the corners. And then it would smell like Pine Sol, and the corners would be clean. And they wouldn't scrub the rest of like I would do the whole floor, wax on, wax off, and just insanity. And we always had to make our bed, like what you said, Nancy was like, you make your bed. We strip the beds on Wednesday. I do laundry on Wednesday. She did laundry for 6 children and herself and her husband every Wednesday. And then we all had to make our beds. And then we all had to put away our laundry. And she was like, don't stack them on top of the dresser. I don't want to see them. Everyone, it was, if you were to see a picture of my childhood room I shared with my sister, it looks like an army room because we even had brown, thin blankets.
Wow. So this is
bunks.
Interesting
Yeah.
because this is how my grandma is, my mother's mother. Just like super neurotic, like was she abusive to my mom? Probably. She was. There was an element of, if this isn't clean, will you be physically assaulted? Perhaps. And
right.
I think that my mom, as her child, hates cleaning. And doesn't want to get rid of things because is traumatized by how my grandmother threw away everything. My mom says, I made her a macaroni necklace and she immediately threw it away. So it's kind of like these extremes of like
just reactive. We're really reactive until we go through therapy and realize that our parents were people. They had issues. Like the reason her mother was such a neat freak and wanted all that stuff. What was that like? Was she raised in squalor?
Yes.
Right? So she was raised in squalor. She's going to want it to be clean.
My grandma will be like, we lived in a dirt floor and I had to sweep the floor. And I'm like, so you just had to get the dirt really smooth, or what did that?
Right. That's what that is.
I imagine the abuse my grandma endured and a lot of that generation to be just like fully bananas. Just like, you got to sweep the dirt floor again till it's not a fucking dirt floor.
Right. And just pound. Make sure it's something, and yeah, I mean, when I think about the choices that they all make, there's no mystery. Whenever I have a bad dream, like last night, I got a bike for Christmas, my first ever new bike. And I got a bike for Christmas, and I had a dream last night that I took my bike on an errand, and I went in to get a cup of coffee, and I came out, and my bike had been stolen. And I told Andy about it. He was like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And I was like, I've been meaning to buy a lock for my bike. He's like, there's no mystery what it fucking means. It means that I've been thinking about buying a lock for whenever I have one of those dreams, it's absolutely never. Do you have that? Or
I have those for sure where I'm like, just working out issues that I've been stressed about, like, how will I do this day?
Yeah.
It's very like my dream helping me just like figure out what's going to happen and what the issues are. And it's very clear. But then I do have some dreams where it's like, I'm going to need a better psychologist for this. Like, I need someone good
to interpret this dream.
Like,
what does it mean?
This is heavy stuff or whatever. Like, this feels like it has meaning, but it's, you need a PhD. You don't have any of those where you're like, this is a little bizarre and twisted in a intergenerational sort of cryptic, my ancestors trying to send me weird messages through sparrows kind of way.
No, though I've never done ayahuasca. I've always wanted to.
I also have not. But
I think it just came to you. Sometimes some people get more interesting messages. Mine, literally the most interesting dream I've ever had in my life. Right before I moved to Los Angeles, I had a dream where I was standing with Peabody next to the Wayback Machine, which is a cartoon character from the 70s and 60s. And he is a dog with glasses, Peabody. And he was like, do you want to see what the future is going to be like? And I was like, yes. He was like, well, then press that button. This is the dream. And there was just a giant button, red probably. And I was like, okay. And he goes, here's the thing. You press the button, you can't come back. You'll just be in that future.
Whoa.
And I was like, wait, I thought I could just, and he was like, press the button or don't press the button. You want to see what it's going to be like? You can see what it's going to be like. You want to see what it's going to be like? And it just looped because I tend to have loop dreams that keep going over and over where I try to re-end the dream differently, where I can somehow game the system. And finally I was like, forget it. Fine. And I just slammed the button and the bottom fell. This is the weirdest dream I've ever had. The bottom falls out of the thing and I just see Peabody, but I fall through and I land on a street that looks a lot like the street I live on in Minneapolis, except for it's slightly different. I woke up and I was like, oh, so the future's going to be the same, but slightly different. That was the message for me of that dream, that the future is going to be, it's going to look just like the present, with slight changes.
Yeah, they're going to chop down this tree over here.
It's not going to be that big of a deal.
Your neighbor's going to get a new car.
Yeah, there's. My father once said that to me too. He's like, you know what the future's going to be? It's going to be just like the present. You're going to be driving a 5-year-old car and you're going to be looking for work. Don't worry about it. And
no shit. So far,
I was like, that feels solid, Dad. That feels solid.
That is solid. Wow. So that's really interesting. That's like a Black Mirror episode of a dream, kind of.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, or Twilight Zone-y. It felt a little Twilight Zone-y to me. But more benign, right?
Yes,
because. Yeah.
But it was it's a little red pill, blue pill.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Right. There was some stress. I don't enjoy stress. I sometimes wake up crying and I don't know what I've dreamed. And I'm okay with that. So
I wonder, maybe we keep a dream journal. Sometimes I've written jokes in my dreams and I've written them down. And then I wake up and I'm like, this makes no sense. But I'll wake up and be like, hilarious. Like I'm doing stand-up in my dream.
Okay. Well, at least you nailed it. The thing is in your dreams, you should always be crushing. So it's definitely the way to go. By the way, everyone should know that I am talking with Jessica Sele, stand-up comic, new album out, Weird Vibes. It's everywhere. Feel free to buy it if you can. Stream it if you can't. But go find Jessica Sele because it's at Jessica Sele, JESSICASELE. Get in on it. So, yeah. So you recommend, I recommend some basic stuff. Like I don't go to bed. I try not to go to bed with dishes.
Right. That's
I try not, right. I wake up and I make the bed. I don't sweep as often as I should. My mother used to have us sweep after every meal. She was right. Do you know why? Floors? Detritus. And some people don't wear shoes in the house. Do you wear shoes in the house?
No.
You don't?
No.
We do. We wear shoes. And then we have the 2 dogs and a cat, so.
Well, my partner's Japanese too, so I've learned that from him, and it becomes like a religious thing, where you feel like you don't want whatever was on the bottom of your shoes spiritually out in the world to come inside.
Oh, fair enough. And does it keep the house cleaner?
Probably. I mean, I'm definitely like walking around during the day and like seeing what my feet are next to and seeing what's going on. And like, would love that pee or whatever to not come in my sanctum, my inner sanctum.
What's PP?
Urine.
Oh, actual urine?
Yeah, like I work downtown sometimes, and and I live in Hollywood. It feels like I'm walking
there's a lot
over
of garbage.
Things I can't see. I'm walking over things I can't see, but I can smell. And I think that my floors are pretty dirty right now, but it is all inside dirt. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a pee.
It's all inside dirt.
But to me, cleaning is really different than organizing.
Okay.
I don't.
What's the difference?
organizing. I'm going through people's items and things and helping them store them and things like that. And
Where do they store them?
where does who store what? There's,
Well,
you know,
you're
help.
helping them store them. Yeah.
No, yeah, like in their closets or their shelves or whatever. I'm helping them figure out where their things go
Okay.
and how to relate to their things and put things away neatly and in a way that you have a method that's
How do you
easier.
relate to your things? What does that mean?
Like what are you using? How much do you like it? How do you keep your sentimental items?
How do
Uh
you keep? What do you do with? What are the answers to that?
I mean,
And
so,
any examples? Any examples?
like maybe you have things that you want to go in like a box, like you have a special little treasure box full of like, this is a lock of hair from my first
Yeah.
crush or something like that. Well, that's a creepy one. I don't have that necessarily,
Right.
but
But
you know,
like
or it's
buttons
like
or whatever, just gack from your childhood.
right. Or it's like, oh, these things are on this shelf. These things that I really like, little figurines, or
How do
would
you?
you
Well, why wouldn't they just have them? Like you said that you help people figure out a way to relate to their items. Are they not relating? I guess is the
right?
question.
They're avoiding.
They're avoiding their own items or
Right.
avoiding looking at their stuff by hiding it or doing something by.
Yes, like, oh, I have so much mess. I'm going to shove all this in a bag and put it in my closet and then not know where it is.
Mhm.
Or, oh, I don't go in this room because that has all my husband who passed away's things, or like just kind of helping people get back in touch with all the things that are in their house and where they want them and how they want them to live in their house. And
Okay, so like if it's somebody's uh, partner that's passed away and they haven't touched a room, like that person's den or something,
right.
and you go through and you're like, well, we could make not a shrine, but like a little place where this is, this is a glass that he really liked, and here's his. I mean, it would be weird, but like his pipe, like it would be stuff that in Andy's case, it would be like a Hero Clicks, right? I'm like, hey, here's a Hero Clicks that you really like of Wolverine, and it's got a picture of him looking at Jean Grey, and he's lying on a bed. How crazy! What would I do with that? I've never even taken it out of the box because it's such a weird, like a very specific toy of Wolverine lying on a bed.
So you're saying in the event that your
Yeah,
partner passes away,
right. You
what
sort of make a sort of shrine to him, but
that
not a shrine. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great idea. I tend to like with things like that, like maybe have a picture of someone, but then want like just a little box of their things that I can take out when I want. And I
Okay.
decide like, oh, how big do I want it to be? But I love the idea of a shrine for this
Yeah.
scenario where this person has collectibles and things.
Right. Right. Where it was their favorite like trinket that they keep by. Like Andy usually has a Hot Wheel by his desk, and he calls
Aw.
it because he collects Hot Wheels, and
Hot Wheels are so fun.
Hot Wheels are fun, and but he's got so it would be something that he liked plus a picture of him, and then just I have some pictures of family and stuff behind me in the house and different places and art that my dad has drawn and stuff, and so and he's got doilies from his great aunt.
I think a little tasteful shrine that ideally would be in a part of your house that you could go to intentionally and look at when you want. And ideally you would feel joy when you look at it.
Oh, so
It-
not kind of spread out like a specific to create different spaces in your house or apartment or your living space
yes.
that
And that
address different parts of your life?
I think so. And I think if you're like, oh, I want to remember this person, I wouldn't have it all around the whole house because you don't want to be haunted. You just want, you know,
Right.
but
Yeah, yeah.
this kind of brings me back to what we were talking about at the very beginning, where you're talking about your mother-in-law just moved in. You guys have all this stuff in the garage and da da da. If you do feel overwhelmed by it, which I don't know that you do, but if you did, you could have a little kind of zone in your house where you're like, this little zone is a little meditation corner or something. This is where I go when I don't want to look at a ton of stuff. And this is this I can kind of compartmentalize and make my this space stays super neat and tidy and only has
Yeah.
a few things that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, I have a corner of my house that I would love where my computer is. I would like to completely empty it of a lot of the sort of tchotchke kind of gack, and also just I've stacked things. You know, when you get a new notebook. Well, I have
Yeah.
4 new notebooks that people have given me. I don't need any more notebooks. Thank you very much. Everyone's lovely. I also have a lot of rocks because I enjoy a rock. So I have stones and rocks that people have given me, and that and then I have this weird, like it's a filing cabinet, but it should definitely be cleaned out. Like there are things, if I cleaned out that whole corner, if I just rebooted, moved everything out and then reset it, it would feel better, you know? I think. I know that for sure. Just because it doesn't mean that I don't want to keep all or most of the stuff that's in that corner. It just means there has to be a better place to, because my mind does get cluttered if I'm surrounded by clutter.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah. And I want to give people permission to get rid of things that people have given them.
Right. You can't. You can bring it to Goodwill. You can bring it to what, like a thrifting place in Pasadena. You can. There's or electronics recycling. Anyway.
Or God forbid you can regift it.
Right. Right. There's a lot of stuff that other people might actually want that you have been given. And it's okay. It's okay. It's just, in the end, it's just stuff. And we have so much stuff in this world that is just full of just landfills. And so yeah.
And that's what I like about doing this is you do get more conscious of what you have. And like, I don't really want to buy anything unless I am pretty sure that it will stay in my home and I'll love it for quite a while.
That's a good sort of way to pick it. Like you look at it and go, is this something that I'm going to keep and be excited about for some time, right?
Yeah. And you make mistakes with that sometimes and it's okay. It doesn't have to be this heavy thing where it's like, but you know, I think there's a little too much impulse shopping that, like you said, you can see something at a store and take a picture of it and send it to someone and be like, isn't this a funny thing? You can see things and be delighted without buying them.
It's literally, sometimes it's better. Sometimes it isn't. I bought a thing that I often take pictures of things and just send them to Maria Bamford because I was like, you don't need this, but I thought of you.
Oh,
and I'm not going to buy it for you because you don't need any more stuff. And she's like, thank you.
I love that.
She used to buy me romance novels because she knows that I like them. And I'm like, you can't buy other people's porn. Stop buying them. And but I did buy, I got her a personalized, I went with my sister-in-law to the biggest, weirdest tchotchke. It's a pop-up every year Christmas ornament store in Milwaukee. And I think it's a chain, but whatever it is, I bought an ornament that said best friends. And then there was a raised ceramic cheese, wedge of cheese, and a raised ceramic noodle. And I had my name printed next to the cheese and I had her name printed next to the noodle. And that's good times right there. That's something that I looked at it and I didn't get it. And I went back 2 days later and I ordered it.
I love that. Because here's the thing. Christmas is great because you for people that do like a Christmas tree or something like that, ornaments are a great way to kind of scratch that little, like, I got to buy a dumb thing itch. Because
Yeah.
you don't have to look at it all year. It goes on this tree, and you already have storage worked out for it. It's great.
Yeah.
I highly recommend Christmas ornaments as a weird little collector thing.
Oh, that's cool. Jessica, it's getting dark and we're pushing an hour, so I'm going to let it go at this. This has been fascinating. I hope you've enjoyed it because as sometimes happens on the Dork Forest, I weeded off into my own world. So I appreciate you listening to me.
I loved it. And that always happens when organizing memories of things and places and people and other dreams and lives come up.
It's so dark in my garage right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Jessica Sele. It's Jessica, like Jessica, Sele, Sele. The name of the album is Weird Vibes, stand-up comic here in Los Angeles. She's an awesome delight, and I thank you so much for doing the show. I hope to see you in real life one day, and people can watch us, of course, on YouTube. And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
Hi, Adal. How was the show?
Well, we did it last week, and so we're in different places now when I'm calling you
It's
to
true.
do the bonus thing. Jessica Sele, comic, has a new album, LA comic, called Weird Vibes,
Okay.
and a new album. And it's home organizing.
Okay.
So-
like containers and shelving units.
That's what I thought it was. That's not what it is.
Really?
Essentially, she encourages people to keep the stuff.
Oh.
And
Oh, I
display
like that.
it correctly. Yes.
Well, she might
that
be able
was
to
the-
help us.
Right. Well, that was the vibe I got. And talk about a weird vibe. Jessica Sele, well played. So she started doing it just for friends and family. And now she's she'll do it as a side hustle. Because
Okay.
LA comics.
Right.
Everybody
Everybody's
has
got
a
a side
side.
hustle.
Right.
Everybody's got a side hustle.
Right. And she's like, at one point, my favorite line was something like she said, "Everything is made of stardust, isn't it?" And
Oh. Therefore, everything is valuable.
that's it. So I was like, I really like you.
She definitely sounds like one of our people.
Definitely does, doesn't she?
Mhm.
And so it was a great episode, and I enjoyed her a great deal.
That's great. It sounds fantastic.
And I'm gonna let it go at that. There you
Yeah,
go.
why not? Yeah.
Why not?
I think we've learned everything we're going to learn.
Right. I hope everyone else enjoyed the show because I certainly did. And hey, everybody, remember the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?